whether it's out of the country or whether it is on the side of RPF. These were the facts about how people in Mirikolin survived. And it has nothing to do with Rusesabagina. He just happened to be there accidentally, and he happened himself to be surviving because he was not in the category of those people that were being hunted to be killed. That's what I'm talking about. So when somebody stands there and claims he's a hero who saved hundreds of thousands or hundreds of people in Mirikolin, it is false. Somebody is trying to rewrite the history of Rwanda, and some of us cannot accept it. It is our history, it is bad, that we are trying to correct it, we are trying to deal with it, but somebody cannot just make false claims about that, because these are facts.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, President Kagame. My name is Stephanie Ho, and I'm also with VOA, but from the English newsroom. I just wanted to ask you about the status of the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. And I also wanted to ask you specifically about allegations that Rwanda is not cooperating with investigations into human rights violations by the current Rwandan army. Thank you.
What is that? You want to say about ICTR on what?
ICTR and allegations that the Rwandan government is not cooperating.
That is the question about ICTR you want me to answer?
Yes.
It's one question.
Yes, that's.
Okay.
Thank you.
First of all, I have a problem. Problem number one is that ICTR is actually not even properly handling the issues for which it was created. It was created to try cases of genocide. And you can imagine for the time it has been there, it has spent, well, maybe nearly 1.5 billion US dollars. And it has tried about under 40,
26.
I think 26 or 30 cases worth $1.5 billion. I have a problem with that. I do not know, there have been misunderstandings or there have been issues to discuss between the government of Rwanda and ICTR, mainly in the area where ICTR has been employing people who are actually implicated in the genocide in its work as it tries those few cases it has tried. And the government of Rwanda, on the basis of information and knowledge it has about this, has raised it with ICTR. And we have been going back and forth on that issue, even where we have given evidence that certain names, clear cases, should not actually be employed in ICTR, which tries cases relating to genocide in Rwanda, when the very people it is using actually have charges to answer about that themselves. This has brought a lot of disagreement on a number of issues. Then another one has been an issue that was raised by witnesses, mainly the survivors of genocide, who have been called to Arusha, and according to them, in the manner in which they have been treated is such that it brought ICTR into question. And they raised this matter with our Minister of Justice, which in turn raised the issues that were being raised by these witnesses with the ICTR. So the fact that we have not been happy with a number of things and brought them up with ICTR for discussion is not a secret. So I don't know whether that is what you're saying in terms of collaboration, but if anything, the collaboration has been there, and of late there has been discussion relating to how cases could be transferred actually from Arusha to Rwanda. And the main issue that was being brought up was one, for the cases that hadn't been tried, that would be tried when they are brought to Rwanda, they wanted to secure an agreement that these people would not be given a death sentence, which is in the law of Rwanda, for many decades. I'm not responsible for that. And ICTR wanted to secure that agreement. So that has been going on, and discussions have been going on. So I don't know the other accusations one would be referring to.
Our time is drawing to a close. We have about 7 minutes left. We're going to take 2 more very brief questions.
Mr. President, my name is Abraham Luakabuanga from the DRC. I have a short question. How and when your country is going to pay for the killing of 5 million Congolese and raped women since the war started in 1996? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I don't know who is going to pay who. I'm not sure when DRC is going to pay Rwanda for supporting people who committed genocide in Rwanda. That actually brought Rwanda into Congo to deal with those people who were being harbored in Congo and who were being supported to cross the border and kill our people. So I don't think perhaps the debate would end here. It will take a very long time, so maybe we leave it at that. I don't know who pays who.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Sisi Modupe Fadope with All Africa Global Media, allafrica.com. From the sound of things, it sounds like there are a lot of differences in your country, in your society. I'm curious about how you're managing diversity in your government and how you're managing diversity in your society. Are there targeted programs? Thank you.
Yes, that diversity in any society is there. In fact, there is perhaps less of that in Rwanda than you would find in other places. There are countries that have dozens or hundreds of tribes, while in Rwanda, ours is I think there is less of that in a sense that we share one culture, we have one language, but there are minor differences that, but in any case, whether many or few, our vision is to see that, one, we recognize whatever differences there are in our society in terms of diversity and proceed to build on them and look at them as probably assets on which you can build for a common cause of development of our country. And the programs we have are in the area of reconciliation, in the area of good governance, in the area of power sharing, which underlies our constitution, which was drawn and voted in a referendum in 2003, and build on that, on whatever differences there are, but by building on them more positively for the common good of the country, rather than use them to divide the country and break it apart like it happened in 1990, and which was encouraged by politics in the previous years. So we are just doing exactly the opposite of what used to happen in those early years by the regimes that successively saw their people as their enemies instead of uniting them to build a strong, a stable, and a peaceful country.
We have time for one very brief question.
Yes, Mr. President, sir. Thank you very much for what you're doing for Rwandans. And the world is appreciating. But, sir, my question is, these people who left Rwanda after committing the genocide and went to Congo, they were given safe haven, sir. Now they are regrouping. I understand also the Lord's Resistance Army is also there regrouping, trying to come back and stabilize either Rwanda or Uganda. What are the procedures are you taking since the developments are taking place in those countries? We don't want to hear again that there are people destabilizing those places. So are there developments that you are making, sir? Since you were with the President Museveni the other day, sir?
We've been having two approaches to dealing with those problems. One is national efforts in trying to deal with the internal problems and encouraging people to come back and so on and so forth. Then there are also regional efforts in a collaborative way to try and dissuade these groups or anybody that would support them. And we have, in our case, been actually collaborating as of late with the government of Congo to see how we can make sure that these people do not actively organize themselves to cause instability in our country, as in fact they also cause instability in DRC itself. And the collaborative efforts are going on very well. And then we're also talking to other neighboring countries. And indeed, we did discuss when I was in Uganda with the President Museveni how the region could work together to ensure that these groups that cause instability are not left to have a free hand to do so.
On behalf of the Voice of America Africa Division and the entire Voice of America, we thank you, President Kagame, for coming out today. And thank you to all of you who've come out. Have a good afternoon.